Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and in today's video, I'll be breaking down the Commanders' first unofficial depth chart that they just released about an hour ago. Now, with unofficial depth charts, don't put too much stock into them. They are unofficial for a reason. They don't mean a whole lot, but that doesn't mean we still can't break it down, and that's what I'm going to do in today's video. But before we do, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe if you're not already subbed up, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. Alright, so this is the Commanders' unofficial depth chart. Well, it's not the whole thing. You probably can't see the whole thing because it can't fit all on one screen, but this is part of the offensive depth chart. I'll just scroll up so you guys can, see the whole thing when we get to those positions. But let's start with quarterback, right? Quarterback, obviously, Jaden Daniels is your QB1. Marcus Mariota is your QB2. Josh Johnson right now is your QB3. And Sam Hartman is your QB4. So, not a surprise to me. In my opinion, I would probably have Sam Hartman over Josh Johnson. But with Josh Johnson being a vet and has proven that he can come in the game and be manageable, that's why he's QB3 right now. Now, if Sam Hartman can prove that he can do what Josh Johnson does when he comes into the game, then he will win the QB3 spot. But right now, it is Josh Johnson, which isn't a surprise to me. Next up, you have the running backs. As expected, B-Rob is your running back 1 right now. Eckler, running back 2. Jeremy McNichols, running back 3. Chris Rodriguez, running back 4. And Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara, a.k.a. Bill, is running back 5. So, to me, that's kind of surprising. I thought Bill would probably be like running back 3, at lowest running back 4. I didn't think he'd be below Chris Rodriguez, but again, it's a depth chart. If you actually have been to practices, have heard like the reports for practices, Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara has gotten reps with the first team, so in reality, he's more like running back 3 than running back 5, so I'm not concerned about that at all. And, if he continues to show out during training camp and into the preseason, he'll get a lot of reps early on or a lot of play time early on in the season, and as the season continues, he can get an increase in reps, and ultimately, he could become our lead back. But we're still a long way from that, so don't put too much stock into Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara being running back 5 on this unofficial depth chart. As for the receiver position, obviously your 3 guys, Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, and Deebo Samuel. Obviously, Terry, he's on the PUP list, so that's why you see the brackets. Obviously, the contract situation is still going on, but we all expect Terry. I think most of us expect Terry to be back, obviously, for this season. So he is listed here, and he's our receiver 1. Deebo's our receiver 2, and Noah Brown is our receiver 3. Behind them are Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, and Luke McCaffrey. Again, don't put too much stock in Jalen Lane being the 3rd guy after Deebo. So it's Deebo 1, Luke 2, and then Lane 3. So don't put too much stock in that, but it is interesting to see Michael Gallup behind Terry McLaurin. Really haven't heard his name much throughout camp, but, he does have a strong connection to DQ, so that may be how he finds his way onto the roster because of that connection. And then the tight end position, obviously you have Zach Ertz as your starting tight end, John Bates as your blocking tight end, and then Ben Sinnott as your backup with Colson Yankoff as the 4th string tight end. Now at O-line, this is where it starts to become a little bit interesting, but really no surprises here as well. Lermy Tunsil at left tackle, Brandon Coleman at left guard, Biadasz at center, Cosme at right guard. He's listed here, but obviously he's injured right now, so Nick Allegretti will be in his place until Cosme gets back healthy. And then at right tackle, it's Andrew Wiley or Josh Connolly Jr. They have it listed as that, Andrew Wiley or Josh Connolly Jr., so like the Colts situation, they have Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson because those 2 guys are still battling it out for the starting QB spot. Well, same goes here, right? Andrew Wiley versus Josh Connolly for the starting right tackle spot. I still expect Connolly to win it, but right now, Andrew Wiley has taken the bulk of the first team reps, so, we'll see how the battle continues as camp in the preseason goes on, but right now, they do have Connolly kind of as a 2nd string right tackle, but really it's either him or Wiley who will be starting at right tackle when the season begins. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, and like the offensive side of the ball, really no surprises here at all. Your starting D-line looks like this: Dietrich Wise, Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, and Dorrance Armstrong. Obviously, Dorrance and Dietrich are your starting ends, and Payne and Kinlaw are your starting D tackle. So that's not a surprise. On obvious run situations, Dietrich Wise will be on the field. And then on obvious pass situations and late game situations, it'll be Von Miller on the field for you. And it's kind of weird how they do it because they did this with Dante Fowler Jr. last year, but they have Von Miller listed as a linebacker, outside linebacker. And I guess that's just because, he stands up when he rushes as opposed to like a Dorrance Armstrong or Dietrich Wise, who also has his hands in the dirt as well, right? And then as for your backups, you have Jacob Martin as your second string, Clelin Ferrell as the second string to Dietrich Wise, and then Javonte Jean-Baptiste behind Ferrell, and then TJM behind Jacob Martin. He's not going to make the roster, but really your DNs that are like going to make the roster probably are Dietrich Wise, Clelin Ferrell, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, Jacob Martin, Von Miller, and Dorrance Armstrong. I don't want to leave out Jalen Holmes because he does have a shot as well, but I'm not 100% sure if he's going to make the roster like the other guys I just mentioned. And then backing up Payne and Kinlaw, obviously, are Eddie Goldman and Johnny Newton. We're hoping that Johnny Newton takes a big step up this year. We're going to need him to because we spent a high draft pick on him, a high second-round pick on him. So we want him to step up and prove why, he deserved to have a high second-round pick used on him. And then as for your linebackers, no surprises here. Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, your linebacker duo, your starting linebackers. Jordan McGee backing up Bobby Wagner. So, again, we have high hopes for Jordan McGee. We feel like he will be the successor to Bobby Wagner. Then you have Nick Bellore, Cam Madrano, and then Dominique Hampton. I believe we will keep 6 linebackers. And those guys I feel like are pretty obvious with Wagner, Louvu, McGee, Bellore, Madrano, and Dominique Hampton. As for the secondary, again, as expected, Marshawn Lattimore, Trey Amos, and Mikey Sanderstill are your 3 starting cornerbacks, with Lattimore and Amos on the inside and Mikey Sanderstill on the inside or at the nickel. Noah Igbinoghene backing up Mikey Sanderstill, Jonathan Jones backing up Trey Amos, but those 2 guys can play inside, outside, so, doesn't really matter like where they're positioned here. So Lattimore, Amos, Sanderstill, Igbinoghene, and Jones, those will be the 5 cornerbacks making the roster. And then at safety, I do find it interesting that Tyler Owens is 3rd string safety right now because he has been getting a lot of first team reps during practice, and that's where depth charts kind of don't matter, right? Because, you have all this on your screen, all these guys listed at certain areas when in practice, they're actually getting reps at an area like above, like Tyler Owens, he's getting first team reps. Like, he is not the 3rd string safety right now. Maybe he is behind Percy Butler, but I'd honestly probably put him ahead of Jeremy Reeves and have him 2nd string to Quan Martin. But Will Harris and Quan Martin are your 2 starting safeties with Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and Tyler Owens backing them up. And then special teams, your punter is Tress Way, your kicker is Matt Gay, and your holder is Tress Way. Long snapper, Tyler Ott, and then your starting kick returner is Austin Eckler with Luke McCaffrey backing him up, so that is interesting. And then your starting punt returner on here, again, this is where depth charts, don't read too much into them, says KJ Osborne is your starting punt returner with Jalen Lane backing him up. Jalen Lane is obviously going to be the starting punt returner. They just have KJ Osborne here. I don't know why they have him here, but I guess they just do that because, again, it's a depth chart. But Jalen Lane has been pretty much taking all of the first team punt returner reps during practice. So if I had to guess, it would actually be the reverse where KJ Osborne is the backup to Jalen Lane, who will be our punt returner, our starting punt returner this season. So that is it for the depth chart. And again, no surprises here. And don't read too much into a depth chart because it's going to change once the season gets here. That's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below your thoughts on the unofficial depth chart, the first unofficial depth chart. Were you surprised by anything? So just leave that down in the comment section below. And other than that, it's been King Sean and I'm out. Peace.